We got Death Battle of Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner. I don't know nothing about the White Lantern, so we're going to be listening very hard. This reaction. I don't know. Wait.
Simon the Digger.
But all I know, because I did watch Gurren Lagann. At the end of the game, at the end of the anime, he becomes literally like universal. He literally like pierces a galaxy. So if the White Lanterns are for some unknown reason universal, they're about to hold Simon the same way they hold like Ultimate Alien X versus the Green Lantern. That's all I'm saying. And if that's what we're doing here, then
Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern. Two men born of Earth with the
unless the White Lantern is universal, I don't know.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. And it's our job to
We
analyze
read the comments at the end and see if anybody got hold,
a death battle.
or if this is an actual hydrogen baby, coffin baby versus hydrogen bomb.
Village lived in dreary isolation.
This is one of like the first Netflix animes I watched, or animes on Netflix I
where the
watched.
hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty.
Yeah, Kamina was
and
like
his
that.
little brother from another mother, Simon. He was there too, I guess. Simon was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt, until the day he found the core drill. The key that activated.
Inspired by Captain Harlock? I didn't know that.
Kamina.
Occupation Digger, Supreme Commander, Pilot, Hermit, currently pronounced. Simon is a mangaka in other universes. Wait, really? I don't remember that. Mole steaks. Just like paper.
Named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark. But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren. And as befits Kamina and Simon's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann. With Kamina piloting the body and Simon the head, these two were
This might be my first actual real Gundam anime I remember.
The giant fighting robots in all the animes across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest.
Yeah.
By its pilots'
May have more ore than
capable
eventually.
of making any weapon they can
It was
imagine.
on willpower
including
merges
missiles,
with larger
a
machine
jetpack,
drills,
a
missiles,
sunglasses
sunglasses, boomerang.
boomerang,
Yes,
and of
fire,
course,
aura.
Drills! Wrist-mounted drills, kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha drills, and
Yes.
everyone's favorite, the Giga Drill.
Big drill,
Barracuda.
big AF drill.
Side note, it is so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality. What up? With Gurren Lagann's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human
animation
villages,
still
and
holds up
fomented a
pretty well.
rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome. Until Kamina died.
But rest in peace, bro.
Oh, wait,
This shit hit different.
Was that supposed to happen?
That's what I'm saying.
And it was
Like,
all Simon's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit. So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simon who believes in you. Damn. Kamina was the one looking up to him the whole time. It was Simon who found Lagann.
Believe in the you that
Simon
believes in
who
you.
pierced the surface.
I know it
Simon
sounds
who would
really
now lead
stupid, but like
humanity
it
to
worked.
Victory. Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass. But victory only
The
lasted
power of
7 years
Huz,
before
the Jordan Poole effect.
anti-spiral attacked. Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the spiral nemesis. Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah. Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential. Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy. Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simone can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions.
But you know what was funny? This is how I know I was young, because now watching Gundam anime, what Gundam anime doesn't go to outer space? What Gundam anime doesn't become like in-game battles at the end? You feel me? Like, when does it not turn into Star Wars based like huge battles? So I just don't know why I didn't assume this was gonna happen. But that's because it's my first one. So we got spiral power, exponential adaptation, self-repair, force fields, energy absorption, reality warping, Arc Gurren Lagann, city size, thunderbolt, chariot kick, space-time, shattering burst, spinning punch. Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann is moon size, full drill-eyes, spatial, spatial temporal axis simultaneously shooting. What the? I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Like, I know all of these words, but like, did that just mean that it just like shoots everywhere all the time? Like,
he can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines, creating the Arc Gurren Lagann, which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch. Or
that's
the
what I'm
Super
saying.
Galaxy Gurren Lagann,
which
can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimensions, all within a Planck instant. That's the smallest unit of time physically possible.
So again, no, let him say it. My bad.
Each laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light.
That's what I'm saying. So they just said his final form shoots lasers a number too big for human. Like, if you see that shit on a paper, you're gonna be like, what does that even mean? He wins? So what does the White Lantern do to stop this? That's all I was like. I ain't watched this really since I was like, for real, maybe like the full series, since I was like maybe like 12, 14 maybe. So I'm like, what does this mean? Kobe Bean Bryant.
Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history. Congratulations, Gurren Lagann. Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned.
Exactly.
Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes.
That's what I'm saying.
You literally cannot calculate how fast that is. But it wasn't enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap. The multiverse labyrinth, an attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world. Except Simon and his spiral power are just built different, and after being inspired by his bro, Simon absorbed that whole multiverse to escape. What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional. Meaning,
11D?
absorbed a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope. What? Oh, we're just getting started. Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person. Okay. That's not too far off from what actually happened. Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon, who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real, adding another to the mix. Wait, if every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit? This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy. Like, shooting missiles that alter probability so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies around like frisbees. Sorry, did I say galaxies? I meant universes. Simon's power was so immense that he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe. With it, Simon turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place. Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
His infinite
spiral power to survive quantum break breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information in physics is essentially the
Huh?
ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, whiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back?
When even this was not enough
Yeah.
for the anti-spiral, Simone evolved one more time.
Into
One
Super
more
Tank
time.
Topa Gurren Lagann!
Hold up. Oh
This
yeah,
mech
the
is
cape is
so
always
big,
ore.
its size is literally incalculable, and with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simone and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey,
There you
cruel
go.
indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
Proving
Yeah.
Kamina's words prophetic, that Simone's drill is
Became
the
Simone
drill
that believed
would
in him.
pierce the heavens.
Put
With
them back in the
no more
orbit, struck all the
worlds
space.
left to conquer, Simone chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days.
You know when niggas just start, like, when you playing a game with somebody and they start making up rules as they go, which I mean essentially it's like the dude from Bleach that is like the creator and writes all the Bankai names and all that. It makes sense, but it's just like now you just need to fight another god. So it's like, what god is stronger? But his White Lantern don't sound like he's a god, 'cause that's what I'm saying. Simone the Digger essentially just became the universe, or he became universe. That's why I don't know, gang.
In service to others.
Always looking up. For all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
The universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien
Interdimensional-
dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green
Ghostbusters?
Lantern Corps. They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You
Nah, I like
know
the
him.
black one.
You love
He
him.
had the nice fade.
You might hate him.
Yeah,
You
what I
gotta
just tell you.
respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown
Oh, so this is
got
willpower versus
completely
willpower?
obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core.
Oh, so
killing
this is
everyone
Hal
in his
turning into the
path,
White
and
Lantern.
absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald
You became the
Tyrant,
Green Lantern?
Parallax.
There was only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So
Rayner.
was Kyle
Oh,
picked for
Kyle
his
Rayner.
indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just
5'11",
there. He had no idea what was going on.
175.
Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical
Like
weapon
Superman,
in existence
Asian
to
movies,
figure
cameras,
out
just
on
like
your
DC
own. Hey,
DC
if Colonel
editorials,
Sanders, Daffy Duck,
love
Space
triangles,
Fleet, and a sentient box
just
can
like
master it,
love triangles,
what's your
oh, yeah.
excuse,
Oh,
Kyle?
God, gang.
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're
Really?
exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time
Well.
and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a speed force singularity.
Tapping into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Poozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled
Huh?
by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is
Was
unmatched.
better.
Probably because he's a comic book artist. We know
Oh.
from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual
Ooh.
working home computers,
Huh?
and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift
Wait, hold
the
on, hold on. Go
Spectre,
back,
who
gang.
Robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the
see
Spectre,
it.
who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 12.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the
12.3?
stupidest thing I've ever
It
heard.
is.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone.
Like what,
Never mind,
gang?
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it
Although
is.
I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only
Oh.
one traumatized. This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female
Fridging?
characters are often sacrificed as mere
Oh.
plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious.
Wait,
He became a
Cat
prominent
scored
member of
20
the
and a
Justice
fourth?
League,
Oh, yeah, he
faced off against
Himothy.
Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to
Yo,
master
lobotomy?
all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a
Yeah.
different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle
Fear.
manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows
Oh.
Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his
Indigo.
opponent's will to fight and letting him open
Indigo
portals
and blue is
across
like-
space,
you feel me?
connecting him to others.
The final one was the Sapphire Light of Love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their
You
minds.
lobotomizing
But Kyle
niggas?
only mastered it by forgiving
Damn.
himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong
Oh.
enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Kyle has held his own against Parallax as a Green Lantern. The Parallax has fought the Time Trapper, Spectre, and Anti-Monitor while possessing how this substantiates the White Lantern as being equal or superior to Anti-Monitor.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the
Equal or
life
greater
equation.
than sign.
Essentially the source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim.
Yeah, he brought his
even
girlfriend back.
threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The life equation, like its counterpart, the
Thanks, Supernova.
anti-life equation, is a conceptual
Survived
artifact from a
the-
higher reality,
that
originating in
created
a
the-
platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
You know what I mean, it's just an epiphany. So, Marvel Comics are called MC. And these are just called DC because the C stands for comics. They're detective comics. So you don't say DC Comics because that's just Detective Comics. Yeah, I know, right? Why did nobody say anything? We don't know. Chai T Convo, you know what I'm saying? So, the MCU stands for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Roy. So the DCU would just be the Detective Comic Universe, which would just be the comics. So for the movies, it would have to be DCCU, Detective Comic Cinematic Universe. That just doesn't look cool. It looks tacky. But obviously, I didn't think about movies where they created Detective Comics, so I don't know, gang. I'm just
Spent
saying.
his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way
Carrying
to
the
stop power
universe,
from
though?
corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle
Spread it.
split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns.
Oh, he
And
made a White
together,
Lantern
They shattered
core?
Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was
That
the
is
one giving
fine.
out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
Yeah. Never mind. So this will not be a no diff. This will be a coin flip. Because after understanding all the knowledge, I don't know who could win. Because it's just like this dude's stronger than the universe, a bajillion, like a number I can't even pronounce or can read. And then this other dude just straight up like reality warping, fought like the strongest thing in the universe, like can't die. I don't know.
Hey, remember Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia?
No, I don't.
Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too anime. But we've got a solution.
Really?
It's our own website. That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon, with a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive. It's got episodes that YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way.
Oh.
So check out deathbattle.gg live right now.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, he was like, remember this battle? No, I
Alright,
don't.
the
That's why.
combatants are set, and
Alright.
we've run the data through all possibilities.
White
It's
Lantern.
time for a death battle!
Hey, I'm ready. Simone. Let me take this sip.
All right, I'm not rusty at all.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are?
Just who the hell do you think you are? Bro got a vacuum. Yeah, dragon.
God with authority.
Tell me about it.
Four.
He doesn't know what golf is.
That's nothing. My drill will pierce the heavens.
Yeah. Uh-oh. What he doing?
Take it to Gurren Lagann. That's really cool. I'm a digger.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
Wonder Woman show?
Wait, no?
Now you know?
Now you know.
My only like current gripe is why did he not like? Is it possible for White Lanterns to like turn into specific Lantern Corps now? Because the White Lantern Corps is all of them. So the White Lantern could, like, it's like if Thanos has the full Infinity Gauntlet, why would he just randomly not have all the stones and then like editorial note add all the stones back when he wants to use them? Like, that just made no sense. He could have just been White Lantern the whole time and, like, toyed with him, which would have been perfectly fine. But, like, at that point, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, gang. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. The wrong way. Yeah, let him on. I'm rocking with the animation, though. Oh.
Stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that
Simone,
believes
that
in you.
believes in you. Hey! Spiral power.
Super Tekken Topa Gurren Lagann!
My drill is the drill that will transcend the heavens.
Giga Drill Free!
Now this looks pretty cool, and oh my goodness, this is awesome. What is he about to do? Oh, lantern drill. Infinity.
The super weapon wasn't your mech. It was me. Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power.
I think he has more. It sounds like comically, bro has more willpower.
Let's see you grit
But
those teeth.
let me see those grit those teeth. That's what Kamina would say. Let me see you grit those teeth. Oh my goodness.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simone of Earth, you have been chosen.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Oh, that's raw.
KO! The guy with the snazzy sunglasses!
When both combatants possess unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards. Take speed. Simone can hit
I
an
don't
infinite
know.
number of targets all at
That was a
once.
good battle,
and
though.
Kyle
I
can
don't-
fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination,
no
their
coffee.
willpower, and their ultimate
Leave
potential.
that coffee.
First up, imagination. The boundless
Drink
things
it
they
from the
can
other side,
conjure to
then.
use against
Or-
the other. Both could think up just about
Yeah.
anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering
Yeah.
missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing
That's not
Simone
fu-
couldn't
Nigga, that's
adapt
not
to would
funny.
say his energy absorption.
That's not
Imagination
funny.
is a draw.
That leaves the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning
Give me
factor
some
here,
more?
since it's the source of
Yeah.
everything
Come
for
on.
both of them. Whoever's
all
got the
the coffee.
stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed
like
contained
two films
11
full
spatial
of
dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember, each numbered dimension
like a
infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle
Yeah.
gets the edge, because
That's
if
what I
there's
was
one
thinking.
thing both of these guys are known for,
Willpower.
it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So
Yeah.
just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an
Yeah.
instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to
Willpower.
close the gap with Kyle. Especially since spiral power also lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of
Okay, so that's what. So, it goes to the. Kyle Rayner doesn't have the power to erase you on like an informational level. Like he can't rewrite history to where you just never existed in any multiverses. But Simone can do that, and he can come back from that. So, Gurren Lagann Simone just has more hacks than Kyle.
of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge, especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the Labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much a detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing.
Okay, so
and
yeah, they
mastering
just
by the
said
end
he
of
could
his
never
story.
control
No matter how you look
the
at
wing
it,
condition he
Simone might
needed.
start weaker, but
Yeah.
his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Did you watch Gurren
Time
Lagann?
on Death Battle.
You watch Gurren Lagann? That was crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. What's the comments saying? Is this the reason why he's the, no. Well, he's canonically a huge fan of it? Oh. Kyle either dying. Okay. Interesting.